Hey man, it's Kevin Smith.
Hey, this is Jay Music.
Hey, I'm Scott Snyder.
I'm Cena Grace.
And you're listening
to the Absolute Geek.
The Absolute Geek.
Absolute Geek.
Absolute Geek Podcast.
Check it out. It's new.
Friday night in Phoenix. Woo! You're listening to the Absolute Geek Podcast.
That's right. Welcome everyone to the best damn podcast in all of the known land. It is the Absolute Geek Podcast. I am Matt.
I'm Jose.
I'm Brian.
And
Corbin.
Hey, we got Corbin filling in. We got Corbin filling in for us tonight, guys, because Kyle has finally decided to join the brigade of Kyles at Area 51 to start planning their attack. So he's getting all fueled up on Monster and punching the shit out of some drywall, and he's getting ready to go to attack Area 51. So he couldn't be here tonight. So we brought in, I think, the perfect replacement for someone like Kyle and Corbin. How's it going, Corbin?
Hey, it's going good. I'm happy to be on, as always, talking comics and, you know, shooting the crap with y'all. It's fun, and I look forward to coming out. So thanks for having me again.
Shooting the crap.
I try to stick with my cursing.
I don't know. I don't know if you've ever shot the crap on this show before. Have we ever shot the crap, Jose?
A couple times.
This is just further proof that nobody can replace Kyle. I was just, you know, doing the best I can. Maybe, you know, most people would say shit, but I'm a special kind of. Well, I just said.
Well, you just said it. Thank you. There it is.
So Matt did mention where Kyle is at, and we did send him with a bunch of episodes of Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell to get ready for the attack, and I think that Kyle will be excellently equipped for this Area 51 attack.
Oh yeah, he's got to get that drywall punching arm ready. Got to punch all that drywall.
If Kyle's listening, the important thing is to keep the plane in the pipeline.
That's right. So you got to keep it in the pipeline. You got to keep those Naruto runners under control.
I just like picture him in like a dune buggy, just like coming over like a dune, and just like devil fingers out with a fucking monster.
Yeah, he just got he's got one of those monster hats on, or those like cup hats that you put the two beers in and they get the straw. And he's giving the devil horns and he just rides over the dunes on his monster dune buggy. Oh man.
I love Kyle. No Kyle, I'm out.
Yep. No Kyle. I told you, Corbin, if you wanted to fill in for Kyle, you had to come with your big glass of whiskey and like you had to get belligerently drunk by the end of the show. And like,
I know it's big shoes to fill. I couldn't do it. I'm barely holding down my drink. I forgot what I ordered.
You're over here drinking what looks like a chocolate milkshake. Severely disappointing.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Next time I'll get some drink from Kyle to replicate.
Yeah, there might be some Kahlua in there.
Maybe.
We don't. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's always good. You can drink Kahlua at any time.
We don't know.
Milkshake in your coffee.
We don't know
your water
in there. I guess we can start tonight's show off by talking a little bit about last weekend's events, San Diego Comic-Con, and kind of what came out of that. Do you want to get into Comic-Con first, Brian, or do you want to do the comic book topic of the week first?
I say we start with comic topic of the week, and after that, then we can get into it. I picked a good comic topic of the week, and you know, you don't, when you hear about this happening, you just kind of shake your head and think like, who could do something that stupid? But I've heard a couple.
Introduce you to Corbin.
I've heard a couple of people have had this problem recently, and that is proper storage of your comic collection.
Oh my God! Wow. Yeah, I'm tuning into this. Let's hear it. After losing my collection, I'm ready.
Yeah, we've kind of hit on this before, and we got to throw. We're throwing a little shade at Corbin, but we feel sorry for him. So we hate to talk about it when it happens. It's like a dead army men type thing when somebody has this happen. But he recently had you lost your collection to a water heater burst. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I don't really remember. I wasn't there for when it happened, but I had all my books kind of stacked along the wall. I kind of had the back part of the house. I'm basically not going to go to living situation, but basically I have the back part of the house, and I have my books had a whole, my trade paperbacks in one box, and it was mostly plastic, which is fine, but they weren't especially tall, which is why when the ensuing damage happened, everything was destroyed. And then I had my comics, sorted out by character in other boxes, kind of along the same wall, the same format. Only problem was I wasn't the biggest believer of bagging and boarding. Which is to say that I had a big long box.
Savage. You savage.
I see that now. Part of it was just that in my head I was like, I'm a reader. I don't need to bag and board. I'm just gonna pick them up and read them, and I handle them delicately enough and whatever and what have you. And then another reason was I just didn't want to bag and board every single one. And that was just a lazy route. But I paid for it because not a thing survived except for a signed copy of Batman Gotham by Gaslight and another ElfQuest book that I had signed and put basically separately by my bookshelf.
Well, we can get into two little things here. One of them being not bagging and boarding your books. Some people have, different views on this, but I will say one of the most important reasons to bag and board your books is because when you keep your books in a long box, not bagged and boarded, they'll fold. They'll get damage to them just because of how they want to naturally rest. So you're going to, even no matter how delicate you think you are with your comics, you throw them in a long box and they're not supported by a bag and a board, they're going to get damaged. And we all have been through long boxes. You go through like a collection at a store and like they picked up some collection. There's just books after books not bagged and boarded and they're just destroyed. So I will say there's a lot of people, and I understand if you're a reader and you don't care about condition at all, yeah, more power to you. You do what you want with your collections. But if you do care about condition and if you want, for that comic book to last, throw it in a bag and a board, get it supported, and most importantly, if you're worried about flooding. But here's the thing about flooding. The most important thing you can do with your comic boxes are keep them off the ground.
Now what? Oh man.
And I feel your pain. I gave you a little shit in the beginning, but I've had this happen too. I kept when I moved out of my first house that I was in, out of my parents' house. When I moved into that house, I put all my comics into storage, and they were probably in there for 10 years or so. And I had a full run of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, just beautiful. And when I put the comics in the storage unit, those comic boxes were on the bottom, and I didn't put them on, what people usually do is they'll get like a 2x4 or some plywood and put that on top of some cinder blocks, and then put it in a storage unit. And I wish I would have done that because a flood happened, and it was only the bottom boxes, but all those got basically ruined. Even with the bags and boards, they were ruined. So it's always good to have your books up high or put in a closet if you can. That way you're not going to get, if a flood happens, especially in a basement, and your sump pump goes out or something happens, you have a little bit of chance of getting your comics and not destroyed. Then we can get into a little bit about what you guys keep your comics in. We talk about short boxes, long boxes, but I just wanted to start a little bit, giving Corbin a little crap and let him tell his story. But how do you guys keep your comics? We know how Corbin keeps them. Where do you guys keep your comics, Jose and Matt?
Oh man,
I keep mine in a closet, a spare closet, in long and short boxes.
Jose?
Long boxes, bag and boarded, If they're special, then I put them in Mylar.
Okay, but where are your long boxes?
I think they're all in the closet.
You
What
almost
closet?
had
the one behind you, or is that the dungeon closet?
No, it's behind me.
Okay,
you
cool.
almost
I
had
just
a-
wanted to find out for when I go rob your house. So.
you almost had an issue like that too, Jose, when you had a pipe burst in your house and your comic collection almost got flooded.
Actually, one box got water in it, but since I put bags and boards, I have to worry about it.
Yeah. There are some new cool boxes that are out that BCW makes. They're those plastic boxes with those lids that fold in that basically keep it nice and tight. Not airtight, but it's harder for water and stuff to get in them. So if you're able to get those and it's something that you would like, they also have really nice boxes, the same type of boxes for graded books. And I'm actually looking at getting some of those for some graded books just to be a little bit extra safe. But I do this. You guys see, comic boxes behind me. I'll play, on that edge sometimes, and I'll have comic boxes behind me. But my personal collection, my Grail stuff, man, it's in an area where I'm not going to have to worry about anything but a fire. And what we should talk about towards, a little bit about this is insurance and stuff like that. And I would be very interested into. We'll probably do a little bit of research into that because that's something that I would like to look into about insuring our collections. Because some of us, you have a fire, you lose this stuff, and no insurance company is going to pay for it. So that's something that we'll look into in the future. But we just kind of wanted to talk about, what happened to Corbin and ways to stop that. You guys got anything else?
So Michael says in the chat, bagged and boarded in short boxes in the closet. Key issues. I have designated drawers in my nightstand for them. That's a good one, too. And then you have Chad, who says, I want to invent a wrap like shrink wrap for file boxes. So that wouldn't be a bad idea, too, if you never really wanted to get in there, if you just wanted to keep a collection sealed. But what a lot of people do that I see is, what would you recommend the difference between, like, I see a lot of people storing their books in like custom-made wood short boxes or like filing cabinets. I know a couple people that have like filing cabinets that just have pull-out drawers and they have their comics arranged that way.
There's some filing cabinets that I really like to be able to do that with, and those are the ones that where the drawer doesn't pull out long. It's a long drawer that pulls out, and you can put the book sideways in it instead of long ways like this. Those are really cool because you can put like short stacks of books across the whole thing, and they line up perfectly in there. I don't like the long file cabinets with the long drawers that pull out just because, it's leverage and it just doesn't work. What you did talk about, though, is a lot of people are doing these custom, wood-built, same type of filing cabinets type things where they're on rollers and they have acrylic fronts, and you could put nice boards on the front, and then you could there's some really cool stuff. You could get down rabbit holes on Pinterest and Instagram about, comic caves and stuff like that. And there's some guys out there doing some really cool stuff. And if you can get into that custom building stuff, there's some cool stuff to do. So, that's cool. That's very cool.
So, and then you got Kyle from Area 51 that says, I don't store my comics. I just throw them away when I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Only when he wants to grade them. Yeah. So
Chad says, I use a file box style. The shrink wrap would work for the outer of the box, and then another for the inner sleeves files. Shrink wrapped, access and waterproofing with bagged and boarded. There you go. So I guess the main takeaway from that, Corbin, just to help you out, is for future reference. Let's make sure you're not a heathen and just bag and board those comics. All right? Did you learn nothing? If you learn nothing else from Brody Bruce and Mallrats, you learn that you keep your comic books bags and boarded.
You're right. I should have learned that. And guess what? I've started picking my collection back. Started last weekend with you and Kyle, Matt, and everything is bag and board so far. Okay, so
there you go.
We're doing good so far.
Keep them bag and boarded.
I wish I'd gotten Brian's message about a week and a half, well, actually 2.5 weeks ago, and
I know, man. It's rough. I mean, hindsight's 2020. We all know that thing. So,
yeah.
but one thing that would be interested in knowing is how many books did you have? Like just regular trade books. Do you know?
I kept basically like a spreadsheet. It had 620.
Oh man, that's heartbreaking, bro.
And like it was dumb. I mean, a lot of them were my local comic dealer has a whole bunch of like 50 centers, like older issues that aren't really valuable, but they're good stories. And like I said, I like to see them. So a lot of stuff from the 80s. I was really getting stuff from the 90s. A lot of Just League International. Basically 2 whole sets of the Marvel official handbook, things like that I really enjoyed. But I had whole sets and I had runs and everything separated, which makes it even probably more stupid that I didn't bag and board them. But you gotta understand, most of them already collected, and I was like, I really don't have to go into all of this, and it's dumb. I paid the ultimate price, and when like the closet with everything was wrecked, fortunately most of it's clothing, but then the second half, that whole left side right next to the heater, stupidly was all of my books, and I don't know why I didn't think that would happen, but yeah, 620 by last count. That's not including all of the trades and ones that I bought that I hadn't updated.
And that's including everything you just bought from Phoenix Comic Con too, right?
Yes, that was especially annoying. Yes, I had a Frank Miller RoboCop omnibus I was really big on. I picked up several different singles, like loose issues, Power Ranger stuff, everything, that entire haul. My Venom omnibus, over $700 in merchandise.
Well, one of the things that that's good about having such large collections and running into really cheap stuff is we can give stuff away. So you do us a favor and shoot us over some of the stuff that you lost, and if any of us have anything that we could shoot your way, we'll definitely do so.
Oh man, y'all are awesome.
Yeah, we'll put it out to the listeners too, guys. This is what this community is all about, is helping people when they lose their collection. So if you guys have doubles of anything, or anything that you don't want anymore, or that you're willing to part with, hit us up and we'll get you in contact with Corbin, and let's see if we can get some of this stuff replaced for the dude, because that is shitty when that happens.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and we've all been helped mightily by this community at times over the years. So it's time to pay it back. So we wanted to give you some shit, but we also wanted to brighten your day and hopefully get some of that stuff replaced. So we'll see what we can do. I know that you've seen some of the craziness behind me over the shows in the past, and we'll have to get you over here one of these days and let you go through some stuff and pick some stuff out. So
appreciate it, buds. Thank you guys. Wow.
Yeah. But so
comics.
I mean, for future reference, though, that Walmart sells these awesome things called bookshelves that you can buy, and you can hang them on your wall too. And when you have those omnibus, you can put them on bookshelves.
The funny thing is, I have so many books. Like, comics is like a big part of my life, but I do an NBA podcast on the side, so I have a bunch of basketball books and a bunch of other stuff. You're right. I need to get more bookshelves. Maybe invest in more of them.
Well, I definitely, we've already got a listener that's down to help out. Big shout out to Chuck. Chuck said he'll help out. So Chuck's got a pretty amazing collection on his hands that he's put together, and he'll be able to help you out with some stuff too, I imagine. So we'll get that started, and hopefully we'll be able to.
Yeah, we'll have to get you out on the west side and hook you up.
I'll have to come on down. For sure. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, if you want free shit, you got to come all the way out here.
I feel it.
So
I'm gonna have to get you some bags and boards.
Yeah. I think we have some of those too. I imagine that we have some of those. So, but yeah. So, anyways, that's the comic topic of the week, storage. We just wanted to do a little quick hit on that, just because we were lucky enough to have Corbin on tonight and give him a little shit and help him out. But so yeah, that's the comic topic of the week. Make sure you're storing your books in a safe place, a place where you don't have to worry about craziness happening.
Do it.
Or you can just be like Kyle and just throw them away.
Yeah, like I've walked over to Kyle's house and literally seen brand new slabs just chilling next to the toilet in the trash, man. It's kind of great. So
9.6s, right?
9.6s, yeah.
Signed.
But
Glad.
yeah. But before we move on real quick, I just want to hit this topic one more time. We've been talking about the Absolute Geek Box giveaway and stuff like that. And for a lot of the last couple of shows, we've been talking pretty heavily about it. We're not going to get too heavy into it, but we just want to remind you guys that please enter that contest. Go out there and show that you're subscribing and or you're sharing one of our posts. Or share our page on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and then hashtag it with AGP.
Yeah, AGP 300. Oh no, yeah, it was AGP 200.
No, it's AGP box.
Oh, is it AGP box now?
Yeah, because the AGP 200 is for the.
That's what happens when you're not here a week. Shit gets changed.
Yeah. But so just you guys definitely do that for us. We want to thank you guys out there that have been doing it. I've noticed an influx in subscribers over the last couple of weeks, so we appreciate that, guys. Let's get into San Diego, man. I mean, we had one of our illustrious crew members there at the event. How was it, man? Was it crazier than it was little years before?
Man, San Diego is a monster. Guys, keep on the lookout. I have a video coming out. I've been working on editing up. If you want to know what it's like to go to San Diego Comic-Con without actually going, it's a video I took of me walking around the vendor hall, and you get just to see the craziness of all the people and the nuts to butts and just how hard it is to walk around that convention. And it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's we've talked about this many times, but we'll get into it again, that San Diego has just become the ultimate monster. And that's in many different ways, with the amount of people that are going, the percentage of comics to every other crazy thing, movies and other non-comic stuff has just, comics is such a little part of it now. And it's pure hysteria nowadays. When I was going back in the late 90s and early 2000s, you were able to walk around pretty freely. You didn't have to turn sideways to get down aisles and stuff. And you were able to go through bins and 50-cent and quarter books and just search all day. And it was a lot of fun. I would go to San Diego and I'd come home with 4 or 5 long boxes of stuff. So nowadays, it just seems like everybody's you're running to get places, and if you're not running to get places, you're, like Matt was saying, you're nuts to butts, and it's just pure craziness. And I don't know if that's because of Hollywood getting involved, but that's what I think it is. I think Hollywood has kind of taken it over and turned it into, it's comics version of Hollywood. So,
well, I'll be honest. This year, in years past, San Diego is the one convention that does a fantastic job of keeping the balance of Hollywood and in a comic industry right, kind of even, because like they had tons of comic vendors there, and you could find anything you were looking for. You could find like the hard to find stuff is always there. Like San Diego is the big show next to New York Comic-Con. It's, those are the 2 biggest shows of the year. So they do a good job of keeping it pretty much split between media and comic-based stuff. So I have to give them out to that. Like a lot of these other conventions are going straight more focused towards where the money's at, towards the Hollywood stars, where that presence is still huge at San Diego, but the comic presence is still very much alive and well there too. But I have to agree, Brian. I think the boom of the industry and comic book movies and TV shows and all of that, and wanting to hear the big new announcements have really driven the attendance to San Diego like leaps and bounds.
Yeah. Yep. Have you ever been, Corbin?
I have not, and I really want to go, but like it's one of those things that seem like, I don't want to say a pipe dream, but it's just so massive in size scope. You guys have already been talking about it. It's like the planning that has to go into it. Like if I plan right now, maybe I have a chance next year, and that's still due to like I would have to find the avenues to it as far as like just, hey, getting there on time, going as far as like applying and everything. It's one of those great big dreams that I hopefully would like to do, like bucket list type thing.
I think when they started that whole lottery system, and what ruined it for me is the last year I went, they decided to let everybody who was there get their tickets for next year if they want to go, and they messed up because so many people bought them that they didn't have enough tickets to sell to people. And I remember I didn't buy any that year because I was just so disgusted with it. And then, of course, like most of us that have gone, multiple years, when that show starts getting talked about, you get those juices get going, and you're like, oh man, I'd love to go. And I remember trying to get a ticket that 1 year, and tickets, that was the first year that I remember tickets just being outrageous, getting up to the $200, $180 a day type thing. And that was nuts to me. I remember when San Diego was $100 for, all before they didn't even have like the 5 days back then. You just had, matter of fact, they didn't even have preview night, if I remember correctly back then. It was just Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so it's a mind fuck the way that they do that lottery system nowadays. And of course they only can give so many people because you've got the fire code and all that stuff. And, it's crazy.
It just makes it really hard, I would say, aside from like, I guess being, affiliated with the company or a group that can maybe get you credentials or something. Mm-hmm. Or being, I'm like,
well, it's not just that. It's just, if you know people that went this year, and if you team up with people and do to enter the queues and stuff, so you're all trying at the same time, it's a lot easier to get in. And usually we have people that can get in, and like Jose would get in every year in pre-reg because he went the year before. So it's a beast to get into, but once you get into, or if you get into a group of people that tries to enter it all at the same time, your odds increase tremendously.
Okay.
So never say never. It's something I say that all comic book fans, like if you're a huge hardcore comic book fan and you love going to conventions, I say you have to experience it at least once. It's definitely a beast to experience. But after a few hours, I was definitely like, all right, I'm ready to go home. And Jose's always been the one that's preached he only goes 1 day. He does everything he needs to do in 1 day. And it's hard. It's hard to do everything you want to do in 1 day. Like it's fun. It is fun. It is fun, but it's a lot of running around.
Okay, I get that.
But
did you buy anything over there?
I just what, Jose?
I think it's worth it.
Jose, your keyboard's so loud, dude.
I know, bro. Mute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of, I agree. It's definitely something to go to, but I don't know if I could do the 1 day thing. I'd get there and be like, I got nothing done. I gotta stay.
I could tell you from experience of doing conventions with you, like walking in the door and seeing all these comic books and like the art and the back issues people bring, you would need all 5 days or 4 days, because you would spend 6 to 7 hours at one stand just going through stuff.
Yeah.
And
that, I love that. I love, especially like those big cons, because a lot of those guys will put stuff away that they want to bring to San Diego, or they'll go balls to the wall and go get collections. And sometimes you'll run into that stuff that's crazy. But the problem with comics really taking a back seat at comic conventions nowadays is the prices on these books. Some of these vendors are selling for just outrageous prices, and I couldn't, if they're outrageous at Phoenix Comic Fan Fusion, I couldn't imagine what they're like at San Diego nowadays. Did you see the prices on some of the normal, like say an Amazing Spider-Man 300, or like just like the benchmark books, what they were going for? Did you look at any of that stuff?
I mean, none of them were too crazy overpriced. Like, it was about standard. A lot of people were keeping to eBay prices from what I saw. What, it was crazy is like CGC had like a gallery almost set up of just like graded books. So like I'll have it in my video. Like, you could see like they had the Fantastic Four #1. Like, they had all these crazy books like Amazing Fantasy 15. They had all this crazy stuff graded and on display that you could purchase if you had the kind of cash. But you're absolutely right. A lot of people just throw stuff in away, and they're like, all right, well, we're gonna save this for a different convention or for San Diego.
I remember the first year I went to San Diego, and it was I think it was Heritage. It was either Heritage or it was one of the East Coast, really big East Coast dealers. And you walk in, and they had a big, huge, like a U-shaped glass case, and there was probably 5 copies of Action Comics #1, 5 copies of Detective 27, 10 copies of Amazing Fantasy 15. And I remember just taking pictures of this stuff going, I'm never going to see something like this amount of books, these huge keys in one area again. It was, and you're right, Matt, seeing that stuff like that close and in that good of condition is mind-blowing. Especially at the prices nowadays. I mean, when I was going to San Diego Comic-Con, you could get an Amazing Fantasy 15 raw, like a graded 5 for like $1,500 to $2,000. You know what I mean? And now those things are probably what, $100,000, 50 to $100,000. So
I did. Corbin, you're on mute, buddy. No, dude, your mic is like cutting out.
Yeah, it's your mic. So,
but I did have a Kyle CGC experience though. I was there. Yeah.
What happened?
So I decided that I wanted to get Robert Kirkman to sign my Walking Dead 193 because I thought it would be cool to have the final issue of the series signed by Kirkman. So he was signing Thursday and Saturday, and I was only there for Friday. So I was like, he was doing a private signing or signature series signing with them. So like, all right, I'll pay for that. I got an email that says, hey, to save time, fill out your paperwork online, print it off, and bring it in. That way all you have to do is pay your money for the signature, drop the book off, and away you go. So that's what I did. And I get there, and the woman's like, what are you here for? I was like, I'm dropping off my book to get signed by Kirkman. I already got the paperwork and stuff. I just need to pay and drop it off. You can't do that. You have to fill out the paperwork here. I was like, well, I got this email here that says that. Well, that email's wrong. You can't do that. And she literally reached in my bag and board, looked at the paperwork, and tore it up in front of me. She's like, you need to fill it out here. And I was like, all right. So, and I was like, all right, cool. So I went to the kiosk, and she's like, all right, well, we'll text you in about 30 minutes to an hour when it's your turn to come up here. And I was like, whatever, dude. Dedication, right? So I get the text message about an hour later, and I will go back up there, and I'm like, all right, I'm here for the Kirkman Signature Series. And she's like, all right, well, you wait in line behind this other gentleman, and then we'll get to you. That dude took 45 minutes going through about 5 different books, like inspecting them, just trying to decide if he wanted to get them graded. So finally get up there, I fill out the paperwork, and she picks up my book. She takes it out of, she's like, it needs to be windowed. I was like, it's already windowed, it's taped up, it's good. She takes my book out of the bag and board to look at it, and she drops it on the ground. On the corner, the back corner. And it splits the back corner. And I was like, what? I was like, you just dropped my fucking book. Like, what are you going to do with that? And she's like, oh, no, it'll press out. I was like, that book isn't pressing. If that's not pressing out, you just dropped my book. What the fuck are you going to do about it? I was like, you need to walk your ass over to the image booth and buy me a new book right now. And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. It'll press out. I was like, it's not going to fucking press out. And so she's like, well, I'll give you a free pressing, and I'll also give you a free custom label. What custom label do you want? So I got to choose a free custom label. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, but she didn't replace the book?
I don't know. I won't know until I get it back.
If you get that book back and it fucking got a split in the corner, I would flip the fuck out.
Well, that's what I said.
Send it to fucking them.
I was like, I took pictures of this book, so I know how I handed it to you. It wasn't split. You just dropped it. I was like, you split my book. So now it just went from probably a 9.8 to like a 9.0, if that. I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. I was like, what kind of shit show are you running here? And she's like, oh, don't worry. It'll press out. It's fine. It'll be taken care of. I was like, whatever. And so like finally I got through with it, and I was like, I want the fast pass. And she's like, all right. And I had to go to try to get into some press stuff, so I walked off, and I came back, and I looked at my paperwork, and she didn't mark the fast pass. And I was like, so I went back to the booth, and I was like, hey, you didn't mark the fast pass on this. So I want the fast pass. Oh, well, now you have to wait until and contact customer service to add the fast pass. I was like, all right. So I get home and I email customer service, and they're like, oh, well, we haven't received those books yet. We can't do anything until you receive an email saying that we received them in corporate. And I was like, cool. But they did take a picture of Robert Kirkman and Tom McFarlane holding the book, and it was my book because I could tell by the way I cut out the bag and board and the way I did things that it was my book. So that's cool, but I'm still like sitting on pins and needles to see how I get that book back.
Did you mention when you wrote to complain? Did you mention what happened? How they dropped it?
Yeah, and I told them that I have pictures of how the book was sent to them.
Do you have her name?
It's on my. I think it's on my paperwork.
Yeah, we need to call that person out, man.
But I was like, that's ridiculous. And like, I guess they took a team picture, and Kyle sent it to me, and he was like, so which one was it that dropped your book? And I pointed her out to him, so he knows, like he's seen her. But it was just it made me never want to go through this again. Like, I'm not a guy that likes to get his books graded, and like I know I laugh at Kyle when he goes through this stuff, but it literally makes me never want to do this again.
Yeah, I had the same problem at Phoenix. Like, that really turned me off, that they didn't have a representative there just to take books. I'm sure they could have pulled anybody locally that has a CGC account through a shop and said, hey, we'll give you a free pass and pay you this much to take books. They didn't even do that, and that really pissed me off. So I don't blame you, Matt. I think that we need to call them out big time if that book gets back to you in any condition less than a 9.6 or 9.8.
Oh, I told her, I was like, you can't ding me on that grade. You literally just dropped my book in front of me.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, we'll press it out. It's not going to press out.
Well, other than that, go ahead, Corbin.
And this is for like keys or just regular?
Well,
Walking Dead 193.
Yeah, Walking Dead 193, the final issue of the book.
I know it's the same one still. Okay.
Yeah.
That's jacked up. Wow.
Yeah.
I think having a customer service representative for things like that is like damn near mandatory. You know what I mean? I don't know if you can like get away with that, because you're right. I mean, you mentioned that as well, Brian, before about Phoenix in particular, but in general, these issues can arise. Not only this is like a fairly uncommon thing. I think it's important to have someone that is there on hand just specifically for those incidents to keep things moving, and just as a basic customer service thing. Like, come on now.
Yeah, especially at San Diego. I mean, that there's gonna be times where books are gonna get dropped, and if you have a short staff, especially, humans make mistakes. So there should have been a customer service rep there that she could have gone, Bill, I dropped this. Can you come take care of this? And he comes over and goes, we're gonna replace the book. We're gonna give you this, this, and this. What else can we do for you? And that way she isn't taken away from her job. But yeah, you're right. Other than that craziness,
well, real quick too. So, like, we've speculated that they, we question how they treat books, and I could tell you from what I saw, like, they just were frisbeeing books on the back table. Like, they weren't like lining them up or nothing. Like, she literally turned around and tossed my book on the back table after we were done. The transaction was done, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So I know the booth next to her was selling a couple copies of that book, so hopefully she was told to go buy me, replace my book and to make it all good. But
I hope so too. I hope so for them. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but I hope so too. We'll see.
Vaya con Dios.
Yep, that's what I think. It's gonna come back shitty too, and I hate to say that.
Yep.
But I know you guys jumped on and did a quick show about the Phase 4 craziness and stuff. Now that we've had a couple, days to die down, what is one movie that you guys are most excited for out of the stuff that Marvel talked about? Who wants to go first?
Eternals.
I mean, I can just throw out a quick offering. I think the Doctor Strange into the Journey of the Dark Multiverse, or I forgot the exact title, but basically,
that's
Doctor
mine
Strange,
too. Yeah,
there we go. Yeah, that has me. I mean, from the minute they said that it's going to be like a horror movie or like a scary movie, that right there alone is intriguing to me to see how Marvel pulls this off. And I mean, the pairing of Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, and my belief that she could be a big part of this story from causing the actual horror element. She didn't seem to be in the greatest place after Endgame, and so maybe, depending on how WandaVision goes and everything, that could further dictate her mental state, which could kind of possibly influence this movie in a certain direction, along with the addition or the nightmare.
I have a little bit of a thought process about what's going to happen with that, and this is kind of, I mean, everybody's already thinking House of M. We're going to get House of M Wanda, but I think they're going to use this to do the exact opposite. She's going to bring the mutants into the world.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, instead of her making them go away, it's going to be House of M, but she's bringing them into the world.
Yeah, she creates them. Same thought process. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I was so disappointed about House of M because the artists that were on that series and
Oliver.
Oh yeah, man. That
awesome.
Dude, House of M would have been so great if the scripts were better. Because it was just beautiful artwork and the characters that they used and the whole thought process. They just, like with a lot of big events lately, they've kind of they get destroyed during the endings. But I could totally see that, and I hope that's where we're going. Because we all want to see mutants in the MCU.
I'm excited to hear where Captain Marvel 2, Black Panther 2, and Spider-Man 3 are in the pipeline, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 are in the pipeline.
Isn't that heartbreaking?
I listened to the last episode to get that, but yes, the pipeline is very important, and I think D23 will be a great time to kind of get that stuff out, and I'm pretty sure that's what Disney's going to end up doing. To release the information on that. But yeah, that's a really cool theory for both of you, Brian and Matt. I don't know what I hadn't thought about that. I was thinking more, was it House of M? What was it, the one that Scarlet Witch kind of went like loco?
House of M.
House of M, yeah. And
okay,
no more mutants at the end of it.
And that even the House of M, the series that came out after she said no more mutants, the Hulk series, man, that series was so badass. And the way the Hulk looked in the House of M series was my favorite Hulk out of any of the Hulks. And then even the Spider-Man one wasn't too bad, but there was a couple spin-off titles that were really good on that House of M stuff. So I'm such a big fan of Magneto. I think Magneto is one of the best characters. He's up there with Doctor Doom when it comes to characters and and Namor, like those characters that can be good and bad. And I really want to see more cool Magneto stuff. I would really like that way they did Magneto in the last 3 X-Men movies. So I'm hoping that we get some more good Magneto, and I would love to see them come in and bring Magneto in as her father, or I want to see that route be taken.
The inclusion, yeah. I mean, and there's a basis for that they can kind of go off of by not really going into her background too much and talking about the bomb and everything. It opens up elements that can be further explored, a la, Spider-Man Far From Home, where, I mean, Mysterio, I guess his background was already in other movies, just kind of retcon a little bit.
So, is that yours too, Matt? Doctor Strange?
No, it's not, and it's not really the Eternals either. Like I'm iffy on the Doctor Strange. I'm interested to see I'm more intrigued, honestly, by the Disney Plus stuff. I'm more intrigued by, like Michael said in the chat, the What If. I'm intrigued by the Hawkeye stuff a lot because it's going to be interesting to see them bring Kate Bishop in and how they handled that. I'm excited to see WandaVision because WandaVision is supposed to do a lot to set up the events moving forward and has a lot to do going into Doctor Strange. And it's going to be it's kind of interesting that they've already been talking about that they're going to retcon Wanda a little bit, and that's what started me thinking that they were going to do the the reverse of House of M, where she's gonna lose it and she's gonna create the mutants and things like that. Just a lot of the Disney, like I said, a lot of the Disney, they're definitely doubling down and going for broke on the Disney Plus stuff, on the TV shows and like the Loki show, and it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out down the road. And I'm really intrigued by Blade, and there's a lot of theories going around right now that did Thanos' snap cause the vampires and the living dead to rise up, and it'll be interesting to see how that all like plays out moving forward.
I think that some of the Disney stuff is perfect. The Disney aspect of it is perfect to bring in some of the characters that are involved in the way we're thinking, and that, obviously we're going to see Vision back with Wanda, and then for a lot of people that don't remember, there was that Vision and Scarlet Witch series that they did. I think they did 2 series of that, and I can't remember if it was the 1 or 2, but one of those issues has the first appearance of their baby. And if they go that route, I think that's a good spec book for people to be on the lookout for. A lot of people know about that book, but and then another thing is the Disney route is the Franklin Richards route and Power Pack. That's been on the spec back burner for a while, but if Disney is going to get strong in this with some of the stuff, that those characters are going to be huge. Franklin and Richards and what's Dr. Doom, Valeria. Those 2 characters are going to be huge. Wanda's and Vision's baby, Loki, like Matt said. So I think that would be cool to see.
I just think it's funny how Marvel blue-balled everyone, because I know you guys were talking last Friday before they made the announcement about like the Fantastic Four coming and Silver Surfer and Nova,
so
like all this stuff. And I like how they, like Kevin Feige pretty much just blue-balled everyone. It's like, yeah, they're coming and the mutants are coming too, but that's all you're going to get. We're not really going to touch on that anymore.
Well, talking about Kevin Feige, there was some news that came out a couple of days back where there was rumored, or I don't know if it was rumored or if it came out that this is, fact, that Fox is wanting to hand over their properties to Kevin Feige because Kevin Feige is everything he touches is gold.
I thought that was already the plan. I thought that was the plan when Disney took everything over.
Yeah, but I don't know if they actually said it was like in stone. Did they say it was in stone, or was just rumor at that point?
I thought
it was a rumor.
Oh, I thought that was the set plan, was that he was Kevin Feige was going to be in charge of the X-Men.
Yeah, I thought it was just a rumor about the Sony, even not the Sony, the Venom stuff, obviously the Spider-Man stuff, like that stuff. They're like, here, just you run with it, which is awesome to me.
Well, I'm kind of disappointed he's not in the chat tonight, but Kyle had a bet with listener Cobra Comics that Spider-Man Far From Home wouldn't hit $1 billion, and it hit $1 billion. And they're already talking and making plans for the next 9 Spider-Man movies.
What?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So
yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I think you're right about where they're going with Miles. They're definitely going to be bringing Miles in if they got 9 movies on the horizon.
So
Spider-Verse.
Yeah. The other movie I'm super looking forward to is Thor for Love and Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that'd be awesome.
I'm super stoked to see Natalie Portman as Jane Foster become Thor and that whole thing play out. That'll be interesting. And
are you serious?
The hammer is bigger than her.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
That pissed me off more than anything in the whole thing that happened at San Diego was her coming out and pulling that shit. Like, I do not want to see Jane Foster Thor. I think that's one of the worst storylines in comics over the last 10 years.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Cancer?
I think they just made her Valkyrie, too, didn't they? She's the new Valkyrie, isn't she?
No. Valkyrie's her own, and she's a lesbian.
No, I think they just made, like, in the comics, I think Jane Foster is the new Valkyrie. I think they just made her Valkyrie, if I remember correctly.
Jane Foster? I thought she was a new Thor. What do you mean? Oh, in the comics.
In the comics, I think they just made her Valkyrie.
Oh, okay. I was like, what are you talking about, man? It was all over the reviews. Okay, I'm mixed up. My bad.
I thought I was reading an article earlier today that on CBR that she's the new Valkyrie.
Michael Stout in the chat says, I'm more excited about the What If now that I heard it will be an animated series with the actual MCU actors doing voiceovers. That, you know what, now that you say that, Michael, that is right up there for me with Doctor Strange. Obviously, I'm a huge Watcher fan, and I think What If is perfect for animation. They can do so many cool things. So I'm really looking forward to that, too.
Hopefully, have a good animator.
I think they should do different anime styles for each episode.
Every episode. I want every episode to be a different story.
Yeah. Yep. So that's very cool. But yeah, I know there's a lot of talk about, you know, the Jane Foster Thor. It's just gonna be Natalie Portman, you know, while she's sick, and then she's gonna transform into some other, you know, because how could she be Jane Foster Thor with how small she is? And
yep. Valkyrie, Jane Foster, 2019 #1. She is the new Valkyrie.
Wow.
So, spoiler alert, she definitely didn't die of cancer.
If you don't know, now you know.
Yep. So yeah, that's cool. What else? I mean, was there anything there, Matt, that people haven't really talked about that you were really excited about? You know, one or two things?
I mean, not really. I mean, a lot of people are kind of brushing over the DC's announcements. But Marvel, dude, I can tell you, compared to years past, Marvel ruled San Diego Comic-Con this year. Their Hall H panel blew everyone away. Their presence at the convention itself, they had, I think, the biggest booth in the place. DC didn't even have a booth. They were joined in with the Warner Brothers booth, so they kind of had a combined booth. So the DC Marvel had the biggest presence, but you know, a lot of these shows are, you know, there's a lot of this DC stuff that's getting looked over, and I think the biggest one is they setting up Crisis on Infinite Earths through the DC shows, and you had Brandon Routh revealing that he's going to play Kingdom Come Superman in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. So there's big stuff coming out of that. You got the setup for the next season of Flash, and they're moving towards a more interesting villain, and the new season of Flash. Apparently Godspeed's still going to be part of it, but they're going with Bloodwork, who's a newer villain. In the new season, he's actually being played by an alum of the TV show from Heroes. So you're going to see you kind of got the emotional goodbye to Stephen Amell, whose Arrow's season's coming to an end after I think like 8 episodes. And
well, Arrow career really for the whole thing.
Yeah. You're getting Batgirl, or you know, Batwoman. You got the stuff for Batwoman coming out, and
I think that's gonna be really good.
There's like a lot of people were talking. I think the presence of Marvel was so huge that a lot of people are sleeping on some of the other stuff that was announced over the weekend, and they're not really touching on it. I think that the Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff could be huge for DC.
All right, so that was San Diego. I mean,
even to the point where they're saying that they're gonna it just came out that they're gonna reference the DC movie universe in the Crisis on Infinite Earth series.
Good.
So when they're doing that crossover, they're gonna reference the DC cinematic universe. So
good. Maybe that'll be their way to combine continuities and just cherry pick the best continuities from each, because that's what they did in the comics when they did Infinite Crisis, you know. So they cherry picked from each and put them in one thing, and I mean that didn't last, but it was nice to see it. It's nice to see. One of my favorite all-time villains in DC is Superboy Prime. I think Superboy Prime is one of the coolest characters, and only after how they worked him in Infinite Crisis. They just did such a good job with him, and I want to see him back in some aspect of the DC universe. So yeah, I agree, Matt. That's definitely cool.
One thing I wanted him to touch on more in San Diego, though, to come out of is I wanted to know more about what's going on with the DC streaming platform. I know that there's a lot of talk of them joining the Warner Brothers, and now Warner Brothers is changing to what is HBO Max or something like that. So I know that a lot of these, like Doom Patrol Season 2 is going to be on HBO Max, and a lot of these, that'll be a third streaming service for HBO. But I'm still kind of up in the air and confused a little bit about what the hell's going on with DC and their streaming platforms.
Apparently they said that the DC universe is going to be okay for now because HBO Max are going to share Titans. Probably they're definitely sharing Doom Patrol. They're going to be sharing certain shows, obviously the more popular ones from DC Universe, but that DC Universe, at least for now, is safe. So, I mean, combining them would be a mess because if you combine DC Universe with HBO Max, a big part of DC Universe is the comics as well. They just added all those comics to DC Universe, so then are you going to have comics available for HBO Max? Not likely. So they're kind of in a conundrum there. Or they could do like a feature where they say, okay, if you want just DC content, go here. But if they were to do that, they already have it right now in DC Universe. So from a report I was reading a little bit ago, they're basically going to cherry pick from DC Universe some of the more popular titles. But DC Universe on its own is safe, at least for the near future. So they're going to coexist.
This year,
talking about.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say this year. The other thing with the San Diego this year, before we move on, Brian, I'm not trying to cut you off here.
No, of course not, man.
The other cool thing about this year the floor and the atmosphere was very much lit up in a buzz with who's going to show up. Because, like, out of nowhere, Tom Cruise shows up and drops the Top Gun True Maverick trailer. And nobody was expecting Tom Cruise to show up at the convention. So, like, it was just kind of like who's showing up to drop what and what are you going to see type thing, you know? And I understand, like, Guardians wasn't on display there because James Gunn came out later and said, well, I'm not going to even touch that until I'm finished with Suicide Squad. And you would figured you're going to get to see a little bit more of that kind of stuff. And I'm expecting next year's San Diego to be DC heavy. Marvel and DC will definitely go head to head next year because DC will have Birds of Prey stuff. They'll have Suicide Squad stuff. They'll have Batman stuff. Marvel's going to have all their stuff. So it'll be interesting to see next year for sure. I think will be a fantastic year to go to the convention.
We were talking about streaming services, and one of the things that I'm most excited for, and I know Matt and I think maybe Corbin might have started watching it too, is that The Boys on Amazon Prime from Garth Ennis, the comic from Garth Ennis, and Seth Rogen and his partner are doing it on Amazon Prime. And me and Matt kind of talked about this. We've talked about how good The Boys is and how it's really gnarly, dark humor, which is right up my alley. I've always loved Garth Ennis, the Preacher stuff and his Hellblazer stuff, and I mean he just does all kinds of good stuff. But what do you guys think of The Boys so far? That you guys that have seen it?
I love it.
Yeah, I'm absolutely crazy about it.
What do you think about the casting? Did they do a good job casting?
I think so far the casting has been really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that is it not Howie? Dewey? What's the guy's name that gets Dewey? His girlfriend? Huh?
Dewey.
Yeah. I think it's so funny because when that comic first came out, that character, just like Wanted, when Wanted came out,
did you say his name was Dewey?
Yeah.
I don't think it's Dewey.
What is it? Something like that. Howie?
Huey.
Yeah. So in the Wanted comic book a few years before, they blatantly used Eminem's likeness as the main character. And in The Boys, they blatantly used Simon Pegg's likeness for Huey. So I remember thinking, oh, how great would it be to have Simon Pegg play that character? But I think they got a good person to play that character from the little bit I've seen so far.
So spoiler alert, Simon Pegg's in the show.
Yeah, so
he's his dad. Yeah, he's the dad.
Which that's kind of what I wanted to get into, is that how cool it was to see that. He isn't playing the character, but they joked about it. So
I think
go ahead.
I can tell you, I think that they did this. The special effects in this show are absolutely incredible. Like when stuff gets crazy and like you see body parts like exploding and like they don't hold back, man. It's very graphic.
One of the things that seeing the trailer of Boys did was make me go back and look through some of my Garth Ennis books. And one of my favorite Garth Ennis books that they did was a book called Wormwood that he did out of Avatar. and I couldn't find my book, so I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna go. I bought the trade. I bought the hard copy, and this is we could kind of segue a little bit into pickups if you guys want. If you guys had any pickups or anything, maybe if you guys picked up anything at the comic book store this week. But I because of boys, I went and bought this hardcover of this book, and if you guys ever get a chance, this is one of the best books out there in the last couple of years that was done independent, and that Garth Ennis did, I think. And
hey, Corbin, didn't you have that book?
He's on mute.
You're on mute, Corbin. You're on mute, Corbin.
So I muted when I took a drink, and then I've been talking like the last 4 minutes, and then someone right over messaged me. Okay, anyways, I don't have that one. No, Wormwood.
Yeah, so I'm really big into religious humor and dark humor, and you guys know my love for Battle Pope, but that's kind of Garth Ennis did his take on the war between Satan and Jesus and heaven and hell and the Armageddon. And I'll just read this real quick, but I want to say that if you guys ever get a chance, it's I don't know how to say his first name. It's either Jason or Jochen Burrows, and he's a great artist. And you guys can see this is the art. It's just absolutely gorgeous art. They did a really good job, and of course, it's Garth Ennis stories. And I'll just read this. This is funny for those of you guys that know about the boys. I mean, the boys just hits you right in the gut, right in the first issue, and issue after issues like this. But this is same type of stuff. It's just really dark, adult humor. But this one is Armageddon and the Antichrist from the creator of The Preacher. Garth Ennis unleashed on his most audacious comic book epic yet. Wormwood is the Antichrist. His dad is Satan, and his demonic powers help him fit right into New York. His best friend is Jesus, a mentally challenged man who isn't performing many miracles these days. The pesky Armageddon is coming right up, and it doesn't look like Pope Jacko is going to help any in stopping it. Ennis drags the whole world into the gutter with his trademark razor-sharp dialogue, wit, and stunning art of Jocelyn Burrows in a full cover. If you guys get a chance, and this is up your alley, you will not go wrong picking up the Wormwood books. So that was a pickup that kind of was part of the whole boys stuff this week. So check it out.
That's one thing I really like about the boys it's how they've kind of modernized it to where, like, yeah, the superheroes are assholes and stuff, conceited and all about their popularity like the comic, but it's more like they're worried about money and getting paid from like movie rights and who's got the biggest movie out right now and like who's doing what movies and stuff like that. It's really interesting to see it all play out.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So did you guys go to the store this week? Did you guys get any books this week, Matt?
Well, real quick before we get into that, I want to give a shout out to Greg Schode, creator Raygun. Finally got to meet him at San Diego and hang out with him Friday night at San Diego. He's a really cool dude. Shout out to everyone at Arcana Comics that I got to meet and hang out with. You guys were all gracious and totally awesome. I want to give a big shout out to Kurt Spurring. I hope I'm saying your last name right. Creator of Goblins. It's a kid's book. He was kind of talking to me about it. He's based out of Canada. It's Arcana. This is issue 1. Apparently issue 1 is sold out. He was gracious enough to give me a copy of issue 1. So we're going to try and definitely get him on the show to talk to him about the book.
What do you think about it?
It's interesting. I mean, it's basic. Like, it definitely is a kid's book, but it kind of reminds me a lot of, like, old school, maybe like Ren and Stimpy or type stuff. I like the whole idea of the goblins.
That was like a big thing in comics back. I mean, Jose, you might know about this. Back in the 70s, they had those goblins books that I don't know if they were Disney or what, but that kind of reminded me of it. Where they were out there messing with planes and doing crazy stuff, almost kind of Twilight Zone stuff. Yeah,
and I like it because I mean it definitely is. It's very kid friendly. It's an easy read. He's an animator by profession, so he does a lot of animation work, and his books are very much storyboard like they do in animation, and that's what he says. Greg was talking to him, and he was like, "How do you write your script?" He's like, "I don't really script." He's like, "I storyboard, so everything's pretty much done for me already." Because he just draws it through storyboard, and they just add the words to it. But it's really easy to read. So it's like if you're looking to get your kids into comics at a young age and start them out early, I would definitely check out stuff from him and Goblins, and that's a good book. And I just want to thank him again for being cool enough to sign me a copy and give it to me to check out.
Yeah, very cool. I'm looking forward to checking it out too. So, yeah.
Other than that, the only other big book, the big book of the summer, came out this past week. Well, one of them, House of X #1. Hickman is starting his X-Men takeover.
Yeah, we've all been waiting to hear about or read, and what'd you think?
I'm intrigued by it. For a lot of reasons. I don't personally think that the X-Men in this book are the actual X-Men. There's what is it? It's House of X, and then what's the other one? It's House of X and
Age of X.
Age of X, and they're two different teams, and the books coincide. And I think you're gonna come to find out as it plays out that these X-Men teams are separate, and this is not the actual X-Men, because at the beginning, kind of just to give it away if you haven't read it yet, spoiler alert, but there's they live on like an island, I guess it is now, but the only way, no, it's a different island.
Okay.
Let me see.
Is it the place where Kazar lives, or what's that island? The dinosaur place, Savage Land.
No, it's a new island. Let me get to where they name it here.
I really hope you're right, because that was one of the things that I was bummed about.
Krakoa, Krakoa.
Yeah. Krakoa. Yeah.
Krakoa. So when the book starts, the first thing you see is like all of the X-Men planting seeds to this tree at different locations. So they have different portals, and you can only go through the portal if you're a mutant or you're with a mutant. That's the only way you can access it. And kind of like the first thing you see in the book is this tree is like spitting out, I'll kind of hold it up here, spitting out these pod people. And you got what you're assuming is Charles Xavier there, and you kind of got a guy that looks like Cyclops. His eyes are glowing a little bit where my finger is up there, and he says, "To me, my X-Men." But this Charles Xavier doesn't act like Charles Xavier, so I'm thinking it's someone else.
I bet you it's probably
I'm sorry.
Who, Brian?
His sister. What's her name? That Grant Morrison introduced in New X-Men when he did New X-Men.
No, I'm thinking it's Phantom. It's the dude with like multiple brains.
X?
Yes.
Well, that is Phantom X. I mean, that's how they brought Professor back. They put Professor's mind in Phantom X's body.
Right. So I think. But here's the thing: Charles Xavier, throughout the entirety of the X-Men, has always been very much on the lines of equality. We want to have the mutants be equal. Mutants and humans live equally. So this whole book is Charles Xavier sends a message out to all the governments saying, "I have a proposition for you. We will give you the seeds from this tree, cure diseases, cure cancer. They can cure every diseases. We will give you the seeds to this tree. In return, you grant us amnesty and you let us live in peace on this island alone, separate from everyone else." So they're their own government, they're their own country, they're all by themselves. So you see like the government's assembling to come to him, and whether or not he's going to accept their offer or not. And instead of him showing up, Magneto shows up. And Magneto's kind of doing the wheeling and dealing for him, and the head honchos of the government are like, "We were expecting Xavier," and Magneto is pretty much like, "You're an idiot. He's not going to come here. I'm gonna handle this." So Jean Grey, who is now Marvel Girl again, goes through a portal with some new young X-Men, and you see Wolverine there, and he's all like giddy and playing with kids, and he's a nice, calm version of himself. and Xavier's there, and so everyone thinks it's Charles Xavier, but I think that's the way things play out. Like later on, you see Mystique. Later on, you see Mystique, Toad, and Sabretooth are trying to steal information, and they get caught by the Fantastic Four. And Scott Summers shows up, and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna need them back, because you're supposed to be giving us amnesty, so I need them to be turned over to me immediately." And the Fantastic Four is like, "We're not doing that." And Cyclops is like, "Okay, whatever. I'll get him back from you one way or another." And just like, then starts general chat with him, like, "Oh, hey Ben, I heard you got married," and just like general conversation, And it's really weird the way things are flowing.
Did you read Grant Morrison's run on New X-Men, him and Frank Quitely?
No.
Remember that run where Negasonic Teenage Warhead was introduced?
Yes.
So there was a character called Cassandra Nova, and she ended up being, like this evil version of Professor X, and she was it's a very character that's very, if you guys have seen her, you know who she is. And when they got introduced, it was almost like a new Hellfire Club thing. It was Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Who was the Sebastian? What was the leader of the Hellfire Club?
Sebastian Stan.
Hellfire? What is it?
Wasn't
Sebastian.
Sebastian what?
Shaw.
Okay.
Sebastian Stan is a fucking actor. I'm an idiot.
And
I was sitting there going, wait a second, what?
It's Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Cassandra Nova, Sebastian Shaw, and they're introduced almost like this new Hellfire Club, and I could see them kind of going that route, using them again just because they were such, good characters, and I don't think they really used them to good potential. So it'd be interesting to see if that's who that X-Men team that you were thinking that's who they really are.
I'm interested to see, because they named all of the other thing that came out of San Diego is they leaked like everything coming forward, like that's going to span out of the 6-issue books, like with Excalibur and New Mutants and all those teams ups, which I gotta, I kind of feel bad because Cena Grace, friend of the show, Cena Grace, he kind of got the screw job, no pun intended, because he referenced the lineup for they're going with Excalibur in an X-Men book when he was doing Iceman. So, and they went and they pretty much gave him the shaft and kicked him off the book and handled that same team he put together over to somebody else. So that sucks for him on his end, but yeah, it's very much just weird the way Charles Xavier, as far as you've known him, has always been, like I said, very much trying mutant and humans coexisting, and now it's the other way around where he's like, he wants to be left alone, he wants them to be separated, and Magneto pretty much says at the end of it, he's like, Charles Xavier wants to revere us like gods. So now they're making it to where the mutants are the more superior, and he wants to be, they all want to be looked at as gods and treated like they're new gods.
Yeah.
And the book
it definitely sound like the X-Men.
The one thing I think you guys need to pick this book up for is because there's a lot of good information in like the side panels. It's or not side panels, but the blank pages. Like, it's a pretty hefty book. It's a $6 book, but like you find out a lot about like different team ups and things in here, and they finally give you the definitive like who in the X-Men now are Omega level mutants. So
now, is this they will be moving forward? Is this just Hickman's official?
Marvel is revamping everything X-Men based around Hickman. So pretty much whatever Hickman's writing right now, consider it the Bible.
Now, see, that's what I was wondering when you said about how Xavier might be different than what we remember him, because if this is the case, maybe it isn't, and there's just a little, devil's advocate here. Maybe this isn't, maybe they are the real mutants, and this is just how they will be from now on from Hickman's point of view. Because I did see a few of his interviews, and like, it doesn't seem like he's going to be beholden to tradition, if that makes sense, on how we remember them for the past 40 years from like giant-sized X-Men. So maybe this is him, for better or for worse, putting his own definitive look on these guys, and this is who we have.
I think he wants to tie up any of the loose ends, and X-Men continuity is such a shit show. It's so full of loose ends that I think he wants to, do a little spring cleaning on some of those characters. So hopefully we'll see some of those, characters that aren't that great, aren't that usable anymore type stuff, use them in some type of cool way and end them, and we can get X-Men continuity back to where when X-Men was just like the greatest comic book ever. So
what really made me stand out though is just like the first page, they're being birthed from like seeds of this, like sap pouches on this tree. So like they're coming out of this tree. So it's like it's weird how that's happening. That makes me feel like maybe they're not the X-Men we think they are.
Yeah, there's some type of clone.
Right, exactly. And that's why you have all these split up different X-Men teams, and that's why you get you get House of X and Powers of X running together, because even like his free issue that he put out last week, when you're reading through that, you got a couple pages from House of X and a couple pages from the other book from Powers of X, and they're very different.
I see what you're saying.
The other thing you kind of see is like there's a new kind of like shield team. It's a team made up of AIM, Shield, Strike, Sword, Alpha Flight, Hammer, Armor, and Hydra. And they're up in space, and they're kind of going to like they're looking for this star. They're calling it the Forge. And here I am thinking that's like the same star that they're using in Avengers Infinity War to make Thor's new hammer, but it's not. It's a giant Sentinel head that they made like a space station out of. So I think that's where the new Sentinels are going to come from that you saw like in his character sketches. So
from the handout, yeah,
that'd be very dope.
It'll be interesting to see where it goes forward, but yeah, and like I said, you get the new everyone who's an Omega level mutant. Like
who did they say are the Omega level mutants?
You have Monarch, Iceman, Elixir, Marvel Girl,
Iceman.
Yep.
The fuck?
Legion, Magneto, Mr. M.
Monarch is. Who's Monarch?
Storm, Exodus.
Storm.
Yeah, Storm's always been considered a Omega level
Storm
mutant.
is, yeah. And same with Legion, obviously.
Exodus, Kid Omega, Powerhouse, Vulcan, and Hope.
Hope's really badass. She's one of my favorite characters. Who's Monarch? I don't remember Monarch
right now.
He's it says
81.
Yeah, he's a reality manipulator. His real name is Jamie Bardock.
Oh, okay. So it's maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. The name sounds familiar. Yeah.
That's DC.
Yeah, that's crazy. Marvel's X-Men relaunch lists all Omega level mutants. I just can't believe that Iceman. I don't remember Iceman being Omega level.
Oh, his name is Master Monarch.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's just listed as Monarch in here.
There's no information on Marvel.com.
Here we go, Master Monarch. Oh, he's that. Looks like he's like a robot or something.
Yeah.
He's got very few appearances. Huh? It must be. Wow, that's interesting, and maybe that's a good spec book if he's pulling somebody out like that.
Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Volume 2, number 16.
Yeah. Very interesting. And that's a tough book to find because it's the Venom cover. Huh. Interesting. So yeah, very cool. We've all been looking forward to that.
So, but it's definitely a book that it requires a like 2 to 3 read to get to like still kind of be like, what the fuck is going on? So I'm intrigued to see what's going on moving forward, though.
Do you feel confident in Hickman in this direction based off of what you read with this first book?
I think it's hard to say off the first issue. I left the first issue intrigued and excited for the next issue, so I think that's a good sign. Usually it takes about 3 to 4 issues before you really get a good feeling on where they're going with it. But
based on Hickman's previous work, yeah, I'll put some trust behind him. Him and Jason Aaron are pretty damn good writers, and anything they do, it's worth a try.
Okay.
But did you pick up anything else, or was that it?
That's all I got this week. Nothing else really jumped out at me this week. Next week is the next issue, the second issue of Last Night on Earth, so I'm looking forward to that. And I believe it's the Powers of X comes out next week as well. So,
Corbin, did you pick up anything, or did you? Maybe you mentioned you hadn't had a chance to go this week yet.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go for like the current books. I went last week, and that was really just to get things to kind of rebuild my collection.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about that real quick. You guys took part in the Greg's Comics anniversary sale, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep. Yes, that's what we did.
I'm really bummed I missed out on that. Sounds like you guys had a really good time. So
I know. I wish you would come down, man. It was good. I got a lot of good books, a good price. Greg's awesome. That's my local one, so I usually go there. He always has good deals. I mean, he gives me a little bit of trouble. Not messing, but he's really cool.
One thing about Greg's that I'll say is, if you guys want to go and feel what an old school comic book shop used to be like, or gives you that old school feel, it's Greg's Comics, man. The guy is like the perfect example of an old school comic book dealer. Cool dude. The shop is very old school, and it's fun, and especially when he has those big sales and he's doing the 50-cent quarter books, and he'll bust out old collections. And yeah, I wish I would have made it along with Matt and Kyle. So
yeah, next time we'll all get together.
Yeah.
We weren't in there long because I was tired and dragging ass. So
yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. Matt was a total. No, I'm playing. He was tired out there for sure.
Did you guys pick up any keys, or did you guys just kind of buy reader books?
I just bought a bunch of filler to fill my Walking Dead stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was all into the readers. I'm going to be doing that for a bit before I even look at keys. So I got some trade paperbacks that were kind of cool. Some what did I get? Oh my goodness. The Mask and the Iron Man. Huh?
Did any of your keys get messed up?
So I had only really had two. Yeah, literally every book was destroyed. I took 2 weeks to and they were all wet and melded together because you know how that gets, especially the older ones. I had taken 2 weeks from the time they were ruined until the Greg's sale to even think about buying a new book because I was so distraught. Like that was years of I called it financial irresponsibility, and yeah, exactly, all that down the drain.
Yeah.
Because I decided to make a stupid decision years before about bagging and boarding, and I knew that it was something I should have done. So after that, everything was gone. I've kind of even got rid of my whole collection, which was stupid and probably just out of anger. But I don't have it anymore, so it's gone. So I kind of came in.
The most important thing when a situation like that happens is that you learn from it, and it doesn't happen. It won't happen again. If it happens again, man, like they say, shame. You fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, man. So
exactly. But I did grab Batman the Cult in that prestige format, so that was cool. I also got the set of Batman Venom. Those were two of my favorite Batman storylines, so that was cool to pick those up. Bought some comics actually from one of my friends on the Comic Playground podcast, who has a nice collection as well. Zach. So I got Spectacular Spider-Man number 200, a lot of classic Spider-Man, just some things to kind of not fill out, but really start my collection again. And I'll be going there over time now to grab some, stuff to kind of round it out and really fill it up, because it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint, to get all those books back. So
yep. Well, you'll do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that was fun to just get back out there and buy books again. It's something about it that's for a comic fan in general, really fun.
Have you picked up anything recently, Jose?
Not recently. I'm excited about certain statues coming out, so I'm waiting for those to come out.
Okay. Well, real quick, I just want to remind people again about the Absolute Geek Box giveaway. I'm going to show some of the things that you might. We like to show a couple things that you might be getting in one of these boxes. Things like here's a Superman, Batman wallet.
Did you almost call it Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm about to. Well, you'll see the reason why is I have some Star Wars stuff sitting in front of me. this was pretty interesting. I know Kyle's going to be really jealous. The old school 30 Seconds to Mars bumper sticker, because we all know how important Jared Leto is to this podcast.
Not to Kyle.
Old school Michael Jackson top sports trading cards. You know you're going to love those. And everybody's favorite Garbage Pail Kids cards. So you might end up getting a Garbage Pail Kids cards. And real quick, just to entice you more, we're going to open up this wonderful 4 Series Garbage Pail Kids cards pack live on air from 1986.
Chew the gum. Chew the gum.
Including the gum, which I will not chew because I've made that mistake before, and it's stuck at the back of the card, so it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and show you guys how amazing these old school Garbage Pail Kids are. There's only 5 cards. This is Ventriloquist.
Ventriloquist.
We've got Bloated Blair. We've got Tiffany Lamp. And we've got Nikki Hickey. And one of the most famous cards from the 4th Series set, the puzzle card, Boney Tony. So there you go. You might get some Garbage Pail Kids in your Absolute Geek box. So make sure you guys go and subscribe and share our YouTube page, or share one of our posts on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and you can be entered into this. Just hashtag it with AGP box. And we'll keep an eye out for that stuff. So in order to win, you also have to be a subscriber to our YouTube page. So please do that. So back with the show.
Real quick, before we move on, Brian, I'm interested to see what you have to say about this. What did you think of the news that broke that J.J. Abrams is reportedly directing a new Green Lantern and Superman movies?
I just saw that today, and I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. I keep on getting let down on these little nuggets about Green Lantern, and they talk about something coming. We had the rumors of the Chris Pine Green Lantern, and then the John Stewart Green Lantern. They had a couple people that were rumored to play John Stewart, and they were going to do a Green Lantern core movie, and that I was so excited for that, and then I got let down. And of course, anytime they mention Green Lantern, I get excited. So I don't know what to think about that yet. And J.J. Abrams is that who it is? J.J. Abrams?
Yep.
J.J. Abrams, he's J.J. Abrams, so it could be good.
Sounded great.
So we'll see. What do you think?
I mean, I'm intrigued. It's interesting that, Disney, I was kind of hoping to maybe see him get into directing a Marvel movie. Maybe I was kind of hoping his name would be thrown out there to do Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 once they shit-canned, God, I'm drawing a blank on his name now. James Gunn.
Yeah.
Or even like when they were talking like a Nova movie or something like along those lines. I was hoping JJ would be in talks for it, but I mean, if he's gonna go, why not do a good Green Lantern Superman movie? I think if you're gonna do Green Lantern, though, I'd rather it be Jonathan Stewart than Hal Jordan.
Well,
personally.
There's all rumors about a Tom Cruise Green Lantern. I do not want to see Tom Cruise as a Green Lantern.
No.
Nix that. I do not want that. And I'm very happy if we see Henry Cavill come back as Superman, so I'm stoked if that's what we're going to get out of the Superman part. But other than that, I just... Michael B. Jordan would be a really good Jon Stewart. That would be cool. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. It's just DC has become their movies are such a shit show that.
Yep.
Did any of you guys see the new the deleted Avengers Endgame footage that came out today?
No.
Yes, I wish they had kept that in there.
I did too. That was such a better ending to go with than what I would have loved that so much more.
So let's hear it.
So basically, it's right after Tony dies, and Pepper Potts is over him crying.
Spoiler alert.
Well, dude, that movie comes out on digital on Tuesday,
Yeah.
So
I was kidding.
spoiler alert,
It's still in
nothing.
theaters.
Fool.
It's still in
Yeah.
theaters.
But
It's still in theaters. Okay.
it's right after he dies and Pepper's crying, and like you just see like everybody start taking a knee. Like Hawkeye takes a knee, Captain Marvel takes a knee, like everyone's taking a knee around him. And the past Gamora kind of looks at him and like turns around and walks off. So it still kind of leaves that Gamora's whereabouts up in the air, even though she's
They
she's
definitely
dead.
should have.
But
I agree with you guys.
it was very like pulling on your heartstrings a lot more than the way they did it. Like watching everyone take a knee around him and stuff was
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
Heartbreaking.
the funeral scene was a little cheesy, and I think that would have been way better than that funeral scene. Yeah.
so it's
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a short little nugget, but
Yeah.
It
All
was
right.
definitely pretty cool.
I did have an interesting on my flight to San Diego. I thought they were gonna have to turn around and it was gonna end up being like one of our what the fuck stories. Though it's pretty funny because we took off and it was like a rough takeoff. Like it was like hard, like it was hard for the plane to get up in the air. I don't know if it was because of how hot it was, but like it was like a bumpy takeoff. And finally, when we got up, the captain turns off the seatbelt sign, and this dude, probably about 3 to 4 rows in front of me, jumps up, and he's got khakis on, and he's running to the bathroom. And he's got a big old brown stain on the ass of his khakis. He shit himself during takeoff, and like he ran to go like clean himself up.
That must have been a really bumpy ride.
Like his wife went up into his carry-on and took him new bottoms to change into. Like it was rough, and I expected him to like turn around because he shit himself, but it was.
Yeah, that's actually sad. I feel bad for the dude.
That was an interesting start to
that?
And he's like, uh-oh, surprise.
Ah, man,
Wow. That's sad.
that does suck. But it's a good story.
But yeah. So
Well, anybody? You guys got anything else? You guys can think of?
Did it stink up the plane?
Yeah, did it stink up the plane yet?
I thankfully didn't smell anything. Thankfully.
Good.
But
Good. Very good. Very cool. So, all
That
right.
was an interview you had. That's wow. Talk about train tracks.
We haven't had any updates from Kyle about his taking on Area 51 yet, so hopefully we get something.
he just said Corbin in the chat. So
He did. Honored.
is there anything you want to talk about this week before we get out of here, Corbin? Anything you want to touch more on? Because I know you don't normally get the chance to freeform it and talk in long conversations on stuff. So, and you don't.
I think. Okay.
But you got to make sure to raise your hand first. All right.
All right, Matt. Listen. You gotta stop it.
But,
I will say.
Corbin,
But I'm very
by
excited.
the way, hold on before you start. Not to interrupt you, I do that because I'm an asshole. Kyle says you're his man crush.
Oh, Kyle. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you guys make a guy feel so welcome. Okay, but I'm very excited for and we kind of already touched on it, so I'd really just be touching on it again. But Christ on Infinite Earths, I did read an article basically saying that they're going to start almost like they did with the book, where multiple Earths are destroyed, and I think that's really cool, especially with rumors of them bringing in other actors who have played DC characters in the past. I think Linda Carter, I think her name was.
yeah.
Yep, she's been rumored. Burt Ward's already making a cameo. Obviously, you have Brandon Routh in there, so you can bring in these other characters who played DC. These other actors who played DC characters in the past, and off them just like that because they're playing alternate realities of the universe, which is kind of crazy in and of itself. But also, does it put them into the Arrowverse, or does it have those, a 1975 Wonder Woman, or I don't know, a Shazam guy? Like those characters are in this universe. There's also been talk that they might, even for just a little bit, bringing Black Lightning as part of that alternate Earth for just like an episode or so, which would be cool and would make sense, and really the only time that would really work, because again, another Earth. So I'm really excited about all of that. There's just so many storylines in this that they can go off of that is exciting to me. And yes, it's just like a 5-night event, or a 5-thing event going from all their shows from like late December to early January. But I am like more hyped for that than anything else for the rest of this year. So, yes.
Michael says in the chat, please don't put Burt Ward back in the green Speedo. I'm begging you.
If I can just see him crawl sideways up a building with like horrible camera work, my night will be made. And then just wipe him out just like that.
Me and my brother used to watch that show when that show started being replayed on Nick at Night back in the day when Nick at Night first came out for Nickelodeon. Me and my brother would watch that show religiously. I remember growing up before they started replaying the show on TV. That was one of the movies that we would rent probably every summer. We would have it for half the summer. It was the original movie, the old Burt Ward and Adam West movie. So I really love those. And especially now that I rewatch some of those episodes and you pick up some of the almost like Simpsons humor where, they have the adult jokes mixed in. And there's one of my all-time favorite, I think it's Twitter. There's a Twitter handle where they in every episode of the old Batman show, they have all these crazy buttons like on walls with these crazy signs on them doing these weird things that you would never, just are really funny. And this Twitter handle will go and find those scenes and show the names of these signs, and it's absolutely hilarious. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing how they play that off too.
I thought you were going to say you and your brother used to pretend to scale buildings uncomfortably close to each other.
Yeah. Well,
actually, I met Burt Ward back in 2000 and 94 when I went to the LA Comic-Con that they would have like at the Shrine Auditorium, and it was awesome meeting him. And he had his book came out or something, so that's why he was promoting it. So it was really cool.
Yeah,
childhood memory.
Yep. So.
Someone in the chat was saying, want to know our thoughts on the Picard trailer. I didn't watch it. I'm not a Star Trek guy.
I'm not a Star Trek guy either, but I am a big fan of Patrick Stewart. So,
he's a good actor.
He is. He's an amazing actor. He seems like a really cool dude outside of acting, and anything that he's in, I'll take a look at. So I'll definitely go take a look at the trailer. But I'm
actually a bit of a Star Wars guy, a Star Trek guy myself. Like I love Next Generation, Star Trek Voyager. Those are my shows. So it's really interesting. I have to get more of a feel for the storyline as far as Picard there, but I think I'm very excited to have the Return of Data and 7 of 9 from Star Trek Voyager and how those three are going to kind of come together and what this new character is. I'm really getting a Logan-esque vibe from watching Picard in this role and this old wizened veteran who's in, a new and dangerous world and having to do one last mission. There's a lot there that I'm seeing parallels for. Only problem is I'm not really a fan of, the CBS All Access deal, but I guess I'm going to have to see this. But I'm still going to do some more research on the story itself. But that's kind of what I've gotten already. It looks promising. And as a Star Trek fan and kind of seeing this now, if they do it almost like, oh man, I'm forgetting the title of the finale of Star Trek Next Generation. But anyway, if it's a variation off of that, which was really kind of a futuristic look into Captain Picard's last days or last adventure or whatever, then that'll be enough for me.
Yeah, if it's got the Logan vibe, I agree. If it's got that vibe with that character that he kind of played in that, I'm all for it. He did such a good job in that movie, and yeah. So
one other thing I'm kind of excited about too, kind of playing off what Corbin was talking about with the DC is how awesome was the Jay and Silent Bob reboot trailer.
Oh, when he walked out and he put his dick between his legs and fucking stood there like that, it was so funny. I was crying.
And it's even more awesome that the response he's getting from him made him go back and rewrite Clerks 3. He's going to rewrite Clerks 3 and he's going to try again to put out Clerks 3. So I'm super excited for that. And just the fact that Supergirl is playing Chronic and he's got fucking Val Kilmer as Blunt Man.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a couple other Batman actors in the movie too. So just the fact that it's Val fucking Kilmer as Blunt Man.
Well, my favorite part was seeing Ben Affleck and that they're burying the hatchet. So
yes,
I was so excited for that. That should have happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see some Dogma universe stuff shortly.
And that's kind of like what I think is drawing him to Clerks 3, because I guess he had a falling out with the dude who plays Randall, and he was like, if I can patch things up with Ben Affleck, there's hopes yet to patch things up with Jeff Anderson and get Clerks 3 made. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it does well, and go out and see it during the road show when it comes to a theater near you, and check it out. I'm super stoked for it.
Yeah. So for those in the Phoenix area, when is that coming up, Matt?
It's in December. I know that. I don't have the specific.
Well, December is a long ways away. So if you guys are fans of Kevin Smith anything, make sure you go to those road shows. They are
I would
classic.
say December 5th. Thursday, December 5th. Huh?
The shooting of the movie with that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So.
Oh. All right. Well.
Anything else, Corbin? You're the fill-in host. Anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, not really.
Raise your hand, please. Raise your hand, please.
Oh my God, man!
I gotta say thanks, Corbin. We always love having you on the show, man, and you bring an element whenever you're on that, it makes it exciting. So thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
It's mutual, man. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you, guys. Always fun.
Big shout out for Comic Book Playground, if you guys or is it Comic Play? Sorry, I just messed that up. Yeah,
Comic Playground. Yep, all platforms.
So Comic Playground, big shout out. Check out Corbin's podcast. It's really good. They're doing a good job over there, and they've got some cool stuff coming up. So
check out Joe Newcomer too on podcast, man. That was a good episode.
Yeah.
Did you guys like that?
I did.
I did enjoy it.
It
was a really interesting, thought-provoking episode.
Yeah, I really wanted to see what you guys thought about it, because especially you, Corbin, because you're friends with Joe, and I hope we did him justice, because Joe's a very interesting, good dude, and man, I'm pretty deep into his book right now, and that book is really good. No, it was really good. I love that episode, and I like that kind of thought process and the discussion and dialogue that you had was just. I can't recommend the episode enough. Even for someone who I was a newcomer, no pun intended, reading Joe's book, and so this exploration that he had there, like I said, check that out definitely. That's something it was a really good episode. And I always am wanting to know Matt's feedback on any of the podcast episodes, so it makes me happy to hear that you guys enjoyed that. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, go check out Joe Newcomer on the podcast, and go check out Joe's book, Diminishing Return, on Amazon. So check out Corbin's book, Tears by the Water Heater. Available on Amazon. Yeah. I was like, I got a book? Get out of here. Tears by the Water Heater. It comes with a free destroyed comic book, 600 of them. But I can't with y'all. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about, Corbin? I mean, I'm giving you the floor here. I'm plumb out of ideas. I think this is a really good, thorough episode, and a lot was covered, a lot of material. What about you, Jose? You've been pretty quiet over there. Anything that we got to wake you up from your nap for? No, not really. No, not really. The dungeon is calling his name. No. Yeah. So I'm gonna do something real quick here. So we've got the box giveaway, right? And we've got the Road to 200 slab giveaway. Listen, I may be biased here, but I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I feel like we are a premier geek podcast, and we don't get we should be out there more, and this show should get more traction and more attention. And I appreciate everyone that's here every week and in the chat every week and participates. So this is what I'm going to do. This contest is going to be an ongoing contest. I want to get one of our episodes up to 50 likes. If we can get one episode
up to 50 likes the following Friday to whoever's in the chat, I'm going to give away this print right here, frame and all.
Whoa.
Excellent.
So
Very cool.
50
like
likes if we can get, so it'll be every episode. So we'll continue on. So once we hit an episode that gets up to 50 likes, share it, get people to like it, get up to 50 likes, come back the next week. If you're in the chat, you get a chance to win this print, frame and all. So
Cool.
hopefully everyone who won our last print giveaway got all their prints. I know they got sent out and everyone got their tracking numbers. So hopefully you guys got all that stuff and are excited about that. But yeah, we're just like I said, I feel like we've got some of the greatest fans out there, and you know, the show deserves to be loved by all. So
Yes, and definitely thanks to you guys for jumping in the chat. We're definitely trying to figure out some ways to get you guys more involved. Hopefully, we got some exciting stuff coming up for you. So definitely stay tuned.
I also have
Yep.
I have a print that I don't want to give away but I might be able to be coerced into giving away too if anyone's interested. These were you could only get these if you went to the re-release of Avengers Endgame in IMAX with the extended footage, and the bottom of it says "We love you 3000."
Wow,
So
That's awesome. Yes, please.
I've never seen that. That is beautiful.
I don't want to give it away, but I might be able to be talked into it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, get out there, like and share these episodes. Let's get these likes up. Like it's I see all these people in chat, but we only got 4 likes. Let's get these likes up, guys.
Yep. Amen.
Chad said winner should donate the print to Corbin for his water heater.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Tears by the water heater. Oh, I think I just got the episode title.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow, I love it. Sort of.
Oh, I'm gonna make a Photoshop of like your head and you actually crying next to a water heater.
Oh my god. Cheers by the water heater. That was exactly what happened too.
Like just comics floating around.
Yeah, what I did is I stared at it for like 2 minutes because I got a call saying that, "Oh, dude, your books," and I was like, "Wait, what?" So I come home and it was left there. They were so gracious to leave them exactly as they were. And I'm looking at them for like I couldn't comprehend everything, and so I'm like, and I'm like, damn, and then the eruption happened. But it took like a moment of suspended disbelief to go everything, and then the flashback of every decision I had to move them and what I made to like. Yeah, it was a tragedy. So you know what? That might be a really good book or a chapter of a book or even a love song. Who knows?
I like to picture Corbin doing the traditional, like, falling to his knees. Why, God? Why? Like, hands in the air. Just clutching soggy books in each hand. Why, God?
Very good show, guys. Thank you for coming on, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me as always, Brian. Thank you all, Matt. Jose, it's a blast hanging with you. I love the show, even when I'm on it. You guys are awesome. Dude. Like you said, best fans out here. Best fans, best show.
Always happy to have you on, man. Always happy to have you on. Definitely, you're welcome back anytime. But guys, if you had a good time tonight, let's make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If this is your first time finding us on YouTube, you know what to do. Hit that bell to get those notifications. So when we go live every Friday night, even if it is a little bit late because someone can't get to the local donut shop in time to get set up. I'm just kidding. It's not your fault, Corbin. It's not your fault.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I was doing this in the spirit of good Wi-Fi for us all.
But guys, again, if this is your first time finding us on YouTube, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and that bell so you get the notification when we go live every Friday night. If you're watching us on YouTube or on Facebook or Twitch or Mixer, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you listen to the audio version of this on iTunes, man, please leave us a review. Make sure to like and subscribe to us, download, review. It helps us a lot in those podcast standings, so that way the show looks more enticing to big guests to come on for awesome interviews in the future. Don't forget about the giveaways. The 200 subscriber slabbed book giveaway. the Absolute Geek box giveaway, and now the print, the Spider-Man Venom symbiote print we're going to give away. So should be a good time. And again, guys, if you want to help Corbin out and you have some books that you want to donate to his cause for the community, just make sure to send us a message either in the comment section or on the Facebook page, and we'll relay that to Corbin to get him in touch with you guys, and we'll kind of be the middleman for you guys to get in touch with Corbin to help him out. Because all joking aside, it is shitty when that happens to your entire collection that you work so hard on. But yeah, so that'll do it for this week's episode of the Absolute Geek Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Jose.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Corbin.
And
thank you.
We'll see you guys next time.